If you are looking for an absolute masterclass in high-stakes federal behavioral profiling, razor-sharp forensic tradecraft, and a pulse-pounding, deeply claustrophobic cat and mouse with a serial killer psychological thriller, you need to clear your calendar for Elle Gray and K.S. Gray. We are stepping directly into the dark, labyrinthine minds of America's most calculated predators with The Woman Behind the Door, the spectacular, high-velocity, and beautifully executed third installment in the best-selling Olivia Knight FBI mystery thriller series. Let's lay out the strategic narrative grid. If you are a fan of stories where a highly disciplined, deeply scarred FBI behavioral analyst untangles a complex web of ritualistic abductions, where a brilliant female profiler must match wits with an elusive, hyper-intelligent killer hiding behind a facade of normalcy, and where the authors utilize authentic federal investigative procedures to construct a flawless investigative perimeter, this book is engineered to lock you in. The Gray duo completely dominates the FBI procedural suspense dynamic, capturing the heart-racing tension and psychological weight popularized by Thomas Harris, Corinne Slaughter, and Lisa Gardner, while treating victimology, crime scene analysis, and institutional politics with exquisite care. The narrative brings us back to Special Agent Olivia Knight, the fiercely intelligent, hyper-focused profiler who serves as one of the FBI's most elite assets in tracking down the nation's most elusive predators. Operating within a strict perimeter of logic, psychological deduction, and tireless justice, Olivia routinely stares into the abyss of human depravity. But the fragile stability of her latest operational cycle is permanently shattered when a series of deeply disturbing, calculated abductions begins to track across state lines, breaching the federal safety grid. The spark ignites when victims begin vanishing without a trace, leaving behind an incredibly cryptic, highly disturbing signature that points to an offender operating with terrifying patience and planning. The investigative grid takes an incredibly hostile turn when Olivia's profile reveals that the killer, known as the monster hiding behind a proverbial or literal door, is executing a highly specific multi-stage fantasy. This predator isn't just targeting random individuals, they are collecting specific personality profiles, and the clock is actively ticking down the survival window for the latest captive. Olivia's fierce investigative and defensive instincts lock on with absolute, unyielding intensity. Recognizing that a brilliant, deeply sadistic mind is manipulating the evidence to actively mock law enforcement and that the killer's operational perimeter is dangerously close to her own past traumas, she drops her standard analytical buffer. Coordinating a tight tactical alliance with her trusted federal team and local law enforcement networks, Olivia launches a dangerous, high-stakes manhunt across suburban grids and isolated hideouts before the latest victim behind the door is silenced permanently. What follows is an exceptional, high-stakes war of intellect and tactical survival. The forced proximity reality of racing against a ticking clock while trying to get inside the mind of a ghost turns the Federal Bureau into a psychological pressure cooker. To unmask the overarching conspiracy and find the hidden cell, Olivia must decode cryptic behavioral triggers, navigate treacherous forensic puzzles, and survive a hidden vanguard of psychological traps designed specifically to break her sanity. It is an FBI behavioral police procedural, psychological suspense, serial killer noir, high-velocity manhunt masterpiece that treats victim advocacy and federal tradecraft with elite precision. The tension here burns with a sharp calculation-heavy intensity. We're talking about that high-frequency, the killer is one step ahead energy, where every shadow in an empty hallway, every cryptic note delivered to the field office, and every guarded interview with a survivor carries massive structural weight. The tense, tactical standoff between Olivia's unyielding commitment to the badge and the lawless elements manipulating the investigative grid is top tier. Elle and K.S. Gray write with an exceptionally fresh, vivid, and beautifully authentic voice, perfectly capturing the dark, gritty reality of behavioral analysis, the cold calculations of a sociopath, and the distinct, subtle scent of pure, unadulterated panic. What truly elevates this milestone third entry into elite thriller territory is the author duo's unmatched ability to write realistic federal profiling mechanics alongside pulse-pounding suspense. Olivia Knight isn't an unfeeling action hero. Her deep psychological vulnerabilities, personal ghosts, and intense moral responsibility to the victims match the complexity of the crime she is fighting step for step, making her race against the clock feel profoundly authentic and deeply gripping. The pacing moves with calculated momentum, tracking intense interrogations and forensic discoveries before ratcheting up to an absolute breathtaking final showdown at the killer's threshold. The Woman Behind the Door is the definitive, pro-level upgrade your psychological suspense and contemporary crime library demands right now. It is elegant, immensely fast-paced, and utterly unputdownable. It proves that the most terrifying monsters aren't always hiding in the dark woods, but can be waiting right behind a normal suburban door. So, secure your personal reading sanctuary, open your Kindle, and prepare to step into the